What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us again for this episode. Today I'm here interviewing Meca Royal. How are you doing tonight?
I am wonderful. Aloha all. How are you? Hey, it is the return of chasing Meca movements. We're back. It has been a while.
It's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to do before every episode is I like to give you guys a sample of who the artist, creative, entrepreneur is. So you can get a little context on who you're listening to, sort of where they're coming from as they talk. So that's going to play now. If you'd rather get straight to the talking, to the interview, the time code for that is going to play here.
To the culture, taking a stand, demanding back my altar. What they say irrelevant, Aaron with the element, royalty regal. I never had an ego, aligned with my gift. Action, said it's all hits, never missed. Jackson, breaking all the curses, taking what they can't block. Chocolate with a smile, I'ma be here for a while. Hey.
All right, and we're back. So it's I don't even remember the last time.
Goodness.
We worked. It was probably for the Ethereal video, wasn't it?
It was Ethereal. Ethereal was our last project, and that was with Astro, Guillotine, Tobias. The producer was Paradise, who have all since moved on from Hawaii Nay. And doing big things, and we're all still really connected. Shout out to those guys. But yeah, it's funny how you kind of came along. I was just like, Astro's like, hey, you want to work with this guy? I'm like, hey, let's give him a try.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I really appreciate it. That was the first thing I did out here. One of the first things I ever did in this career field. I was really just starting when I got to Hawaii.
Wow, that just makes me feel like, wow, it's community means everything. That's why I do it. You just gotta give people chances, and you never know, you could get dope videos and 4 years later be sitting on the couch having conversations.
Yeah. Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know who you are, I have audience in Columbus. I have some people in Japan, Korea who watch this. So for any of them, could you give a little, I don't know if synopsis is the right word, but who is Meca Royal?
Meca bio. You know, Meca Royal truly is just a human, just like the rest of you. But I would say I'm an exceptional human, creative artist, in both music, art, and theater. I also am a retired chef. I have a background in the community, so currently I still part-time work in nonprofits in the community as like an independent contractor. But from a music standpoint, that's my introduction to music here in Hawaii was more like the studio and working with a bunch of featured artists. However, musically, I have quite a extensive background. For 15 years, I was in jazz and dance background. My mom's a modern dance teacher and vocal coach. My dad plays the guitar and like loves rock and reggae. So I've been in music my whole entire life. So I think now the movement is going to be a lot different because I'm more tapped in, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to like my next kind of, I guess you could say the next level because everything is about evolution for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally addicted to like self-improvement. But who Meca Royal truly is, like who I want to be known as, is just like a human, just like you. But I'm someone that likes to like share in the basis of community and love. Like I come to restore and love, and that's from music to everything except for I don't want to do construction. So if y'all want to put puzzles together, that's not for me. I'll watch.
So what are you mainly focused on right now in life?
Currently I have a backing, and I'm really getting back into like modeling and print work, and also broadcast. And it's probably because, you know, I have a unique tone and voice, and then I'm also like full of life, and people are noticing that. So that's probably what brings me to this couch, is kind of I've this year really spent a lot of background in the things that I love to do. So I took like a month tour like independently and just booked 16 different dates in 16 different states, and I drove and
Damn.
like got a chance to really like kind of go back into like that underground, like going to not open mic nights, but venues that are like smaller, like, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, one was in like Marietta, Georgia. I was like, where am I at? You know, I'm originally from the East Coast, so I, of course, enjoyed the drive, and then like going back home, Philly, New York City, DC, things like that. But what was really important for me this year is to dwell back in the foundation. Yes, I sing. Yes, I dance. Yes, I act. Yes, I do all those things. But let's actively go back to the ground, the foundation of it all.
Interesting.
So, for instance, with acting, I literally went to like 3 or 4 auditions, like, you know, like gritting it out, like going to New York and waiting in line. And so, because it makes people remember like where your foundation is and where you're trying to go to. And so now my path is like, it's powerful. It's full of mana, as they say in Hawaii, because I have so many things going on, from dance to modeling, and it kind of feels like it's hard to hone in, and so that's why I'm doing this now. It's kind of, I already have my image, right? Because I'm showing up as myself. I have no gimmick. This is my gimmick, my smile. See, hi. But I need for the people to kind of understand who that is. So that's what this next level is like, revealing myself to the world.
Okay. So then, what does that kind of mean to you, going back to the foundations? Like, what spurred that?
I was watching, I believe it was like interviews, like it was like Noriega and different people like that. And Jay-Z was talking about how like this was before he retired and kind of got to where he was now. But it was just like him and Rakim and different people, and talking about like how they didn't mind like going into a club to perform. And like when I looked at the scale of that, like look at the scale of what these people have done, what stages they've touched, the people they've touched, the lyrics that are forever written in history, and they don't mind performing for, and then I had to understand what that meant. So I did it. Yes, I was in Vegas at, you know, the main stage and the first Friday and did that. But then also that night I went down to like an open mic night and like actually sat as regular people and really got that experience, because I feel like it makes me that much better, because there's nothing that I'm afraid to do in any industry that I say that I want to do. So if I say I want to do music, I don't have a problem being behind the camera, in front of it, cleaning the floor, all of that stuff. Nothing is beneath me, because it's our craft. And I think it constantly keeps you, I don't want to use the word humble. I stopped using that word after I really looked into that word, because there's humility, and I can agree with that. But to humble myself, I don't want to like kind of douse myself to make other people feel better. That's what actually the word humble, if you look at the core of the definition. I always love looking it up. Siri, what's the definition of human? Or what did I say? Humble. Sorry, Siri. Definition of humble. I just like for people to hear it. So, to be humble is to have or show a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. And that's, again, to be humble. It's an adjective. It's to have or show a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. I don't want to be humble. I don't want to be low. I'm energy. I'm full of life. I'm high vibrational. And I think that people that talk and show up with the action should be allowed to not have to be humble. Why do I have to be humble? What I do want to be is thankful, grateful, collaborative, and also a master of my craft. And if we look at like all the masters, like Bruce Lee, all of that kind of stuff, all these musicians, anybody you can think of that's like, they studied their craft. They weren't afraid to touch certain things. They weren't afraid to like maybe get behind the camera if it was needed. And then also in the world, a lot of people are going to test us, right? And they're going to test your G and see, are you really an OG? And when I know what I'm talking about, from the paperwork business trail down to sweeping the floors or how that's necessary, I'm untouchable. Meaning I can be in my own lane and no one can ever go in that lane.
Yeah. So going along that route then, what do you feel like for you is the most important value or skill that you possess?
Woo. He's coming with the he. I'm a visionary. So a visionary has the ability to walk in a room and not just lead, but can take, water and make it into wine, or can adjust a scale, or can change the energy of the room. And I think that's my most valued asset, is that my energy and the love that I exude for myself is the reciprocity that I get from other humans. Like, because I'm so true to myself and my craft and everything that I do, when I go into a room, I can shift energy. I can create opportunities where people say that there aren't any and that they don't exist. I'm able to help my community and really be true to like my ohana and what the real spirit is. Because, all of this is fun, like the money, the cameras, all of that stuff is real, but are you taking care of your family?
Yeah.
What does it look like when you exchange with your fellow man? Is there an understanding of the value of compassion and equity of humans? Notice I didn't say equality, equity of humans. Like, do you have that base? And I think my favorite part about, I guess you could say, an attribute of mine is like when you're really yourself to the core and you're true to yourself and you challenge yourself. When you exchange with other humans, you're going to get more real out of them, because they feel like, well, man, she's being real. She's doing this. I see her doing this. But then you also get the other side too, where people don't believe in you. I think I don't care. I only care about what direction is forward. I stay in positive spaces. I try to speak life into myself. I'm not saying that I have a formula protected, but I think I'm more solid and like steadfast into my direction. So being a visionary, like, can go on. I remember I was at the airport, like random in Maui somewhere, just one person by myself with my suitcases, and it was just like two people came up to me, and they were like older, and they just like poured into, and it's just like moments like that. When you constantly have those moments in life, you do have to look at yourself as someone that is able to like kind of change the vision of a room, or kind of like Vision from Marvel, because I'm a little bit of a nerd too.
So I have two questions coming off what you said.
Okay.
I'm going to ask one now, and I say that I have two so I don't forget, because I always forget questions. The first one is, it's just a note. You said in there how you said Notice how I said equity of all people, not equality.
Mm-hmm.
Could you go a bit into that?
Guess who else is coming back? The definition of equity. Thank you again. And this is why I do this, because it's for real. The English language is so open to interpretation, and you really have to look at the words. And the reason why I started to do that, because I'm a good communicator. And I think communication's what actually helps. Communication and comprehension would help people to better exchange. So I start challenging myself, like, okay, I'm using this word. Is that really what I mean? Is that maybe why that person doesn't comprehend me or get me? So equity of people is the quality of being fair and impartial. Just having the quality of that. I don't think in the world today that we have the quality to want to be equal and impartial to everyone's situation. And that's where the community comes in. That community part of me, I think, comes out in every song, whether it's a love song. I want everyone to be in love in this song. When I'm doing poetry and stuff, poetry really takes me back to kind of childhood and growing up in kind of like the hood and things like that. So that's what it is, the equity of humans. Equality. Siri, definition of equality. This is where it'll help somebody, I'm telling you. And he's asking these pressing questions, making me have to look up. Okay. So all equality is the state of being equal. The state of being equal. It didn't say it just is like the state of being equal. It didn't say you are equal. So equity is more the directive that the world needs to be taken as opposed to equality.
Huh. Interesting. I like that.
You can take a stance, right? Because that's the state of your being. Like, so maybe I want to be in the state of protest mode. You know, like it's making a choice and a decision to be equal to someone. Whereas equity, you're doing that thing. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I like that. So the next question was, it's kind of going into the direction of your thoughts on how values and skills and personalities are developed. Being a visionary. Not everybody is a visionary. Mm-hmm. Very few people are. Mm-hmm. Somebody has a vision. And like you said, you're able to change the energy of a room. Mm-hmm. You have a vision. So what do you think makes someone be a visionary? Like, how does somebody get to that point?
Well, first of all, can you train to be a visionary? I don't think so. I think it has naturally came to me in life. Like, as a child, I was like that. Like, I'd play with kids and they all want to play with me or they all want to be around me. And I was like one of 9 kids at the time, or 7 kids at the time. And so I was used to being around a lot of kids and sharing and things, but it's just a gift, you could say, that I have, or a spiritual mana or soul. It's within my soul. However, though, you can have qualities of a visionary, and how you do that is, number one, you have to be transparent with yourself. Like, you have to be all the way real with yourself. Yeah. Because if you're going to say that I have the energy to change or help someone evolve something, that means that I have to constantly be real with myself and constantly be adjusting myself. That's why I said I like self-improvement. I like looking at what I'm doing and ensuring that if there's a window of opportunity. I also don't look at challenges and things as a conflict. I call it comfort. Like, so if me and my like spouse have to talk, or me and my family have to talk, or business, like, I want to confront, I want to comfort one another, and so help us for understanding. And I think also aiming to understand a human with grace and not emotion is what makes me a visionary. I'm a facts over feelings person, and that sometimes can be harsh on people who are driven in more of an emotional state. So can you change someone's maybe not thoughts, but maybe the manner in which they look at something. If you're an emotional person, if everything you do is with emotion, no. So that, I think those analytical points are what make me visionary. But when we come from, if you want to say from an emotional, it's my heart. It's the presence of my heart that I think that really creates those energy changes when someone sees that you really want to be genuine, or you genuinely care about their directions. Those are traits to have. And I don't want to say this, but trauma, like, I hate to say that, like, because I feel like everyone is trauma responding. Like, that's why the world feels like it's like beep 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 beep, everybody's going off and there's wars over here, and it's everyone's responding to just trauma. But I feel like there has to be a sense of trauma for a person to get to a point where they're walking in a room and people are like, who's this person? Or that girl over there just smiled at me for the day, or just little things to kind of make humanity go. Those are my, like, when you just, I was just going back to the question when you asked me my traits. I'm like, I'm a humanitarian. That's what it is. Like, that's my most valuable. I'm a human. I love humans. I like to take care of the community, but I'm always like thinking forward too. It's the weirdo of the bunch, or they call it weird, I call it great.
So, again, 2 questions. I'll start with the more straightforward one.
Okay.
So you said that you're a contractor with some nonprofits here. What can you tell me a little bit about those?
So, prior to 2020, I was getting irritated with kind of the corporate world. I worked for like 20 years. I worked in finance and finance, food, restaurant industry, and then of course some entrepreneurial things. So 2020 hits. I'm in Vegas having the time of my life. Now, for some reason, I was already hip to it, and I think it's because being influenced in Asian culture, the mask, I already had them on.
Yeah. So
we're in Vegas, and I'm like having the time of my life, and I come back home and the world shuts down. Yeah. So I did get to enjoy myself before the world shuts down. But during that time, it really made me say, what is a job versus income? Like, I have multiple streams of income. I don't have to have a job. And I got tired of the corporate world, and I was like, that's it. So I became an independent contractor, which pretty much means you make your own schedule, you provide your own materials, and you're able to kind of apply to these jobs as your own individual person. So what I actually do is I'm like an HR professional or professional or in finance. So I go into companies, typically nonprofits, and help them with professional development, whether it be their staff, hiring, and or assisting the community with different things such as medical health, jobs, education, mental health awareness, those kind of things. So that's what I was like, I'm going to do this. So
yeah,
really my status when people ask is I'm an entrepreneur, because I am not clocking in to anyone's job. And I stopped looking at wealth and poverty in monetary amounts. I am wealthy because of my mindset. I drive right now. We have 2 vehicles, but the one I'm driving today, it's just a regular black Scion. It isn't a Tesla or what. But I start looking at the world like how people look at you when you get out of a certain car, and I changed I really evolved my perspective of what is necessary, what materials are necessary, like living materials, like and like start looking at myself like, wait a minute, you're going in rooms with people who like during these business meetings, I'm in rooms with like millionaires and billionaires, and they're looking at me for advice, whatever have you, and leaning on me. I'm like, you're wealthy as hell. Change your perspective. And since I've done that, and it's crazy, it's since right before COVID, that's kind of where our brains were. My life has been the best ever. Like, I was like, dang, I remember when I had like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a pool, and I wasn't as happy as I am now, because I've evolved a little bit past that. So yeah, that's what I do now. And you know what I do that for? I do that to fund the music, theater, and art. Seriously, we were talking about that earlier. I'm not interested in helping anyone else's business any longer. I want to help, number one, the world, and I want to help myself and my people. And yeah, so this direction I'm taking is really so I can fund everything that I do more adequately, more efficiently. And I'm doing so much, like theater and music is like this next year I can feel it's big because I did 2 musicals this year. Like yeah, so I can feel those things are gonna that independent contracting is gonna take like kind of a back seat, and I'm just gonna use the monetary. I think that'll always be there though. I think I'll have like, let's say tomorrow they were like, here's $1 million. I'd have some sort of community thing that helps the community go. Yeah.
Huh. So, how does you being a visionary entrepreneur, pursuing music, acting, all that sphere that you're existing in and working in, how does that relate to you being a humanitarian? How do those two things like interact?
I think for me, what I'm doing is I am seeing the human side in every interaction of those titles that you mentioned. So like when I'm acting, I'm like literally like when they had me as this military personnel who was in love with a woman, like I really took that part on. I really was able to, and what it is it's making me more human and helping me to understand humans more, like through music, through writing these experiences. And then there's a lot of things that I think when you grow up in the hood, like you forget when you get to the point that I am now, and writing makes me like live back through those things. So that's superhuman. And with each lesson, and for me in my brain, it's like, what else can I do to give back to other people? How can I prevent a little girl not having to like watch mom's kids and go try to work as a young kid? Like those things are, as I spoke about in the beginning, foundational. Yeah. Going back to my foundation of when I was in the inner city, like I used to do like little programs and little things to help. Even though I was in a bad situation myself, I always wanted to help. So it's like through those avenues, I'm looking at humans as their visual, their auditory. So theater, art, music, dance. I'm telling a story, and that's superhuman. And I feel like that's why people don't relate to artists anymore, because no one wants to be human. Everyone wants to put posts up that are positive and or off the wall, but no one is like dipping into that kind of human thing. And that's why I kind of closed some of my pages off, and I was like, I'll go live on TikTok, because I wanted to really understand who is my fans, who are my market. And the only way I can do that is close my page and see who, while it's closed, who's participating, like who's really looking to me. And that's why I said, being a person that is addicted to self-improvement, I'm learning like, oh, I could have found my fans a long time ago. Yeah. Close your Instagram. Just close your Instagram for 2 weeks and see who's participating on there, and then that's your market, and then you start to lean on the human side of things. Interesting. And who doesn't love a human that's, or just a woman that's like awesome and stuff, and then she takes care of her community? That makes people pay attention to me, because I'm being real. Like I really do care about where my kid goes to school, or who's the next neighbor's kid's gonna look like, or what. I really do care about those things. And so I hope that answers. I feel like this is what I like about you. I don't feel like I'm answering questions. I feel like I'm helping you to understand my perspective.
That's exactly how I view this.
And I appreciate that. It just, I don't know. I like being seen and heard. That is hard in this world today. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's exactly how I approach these. Is I really just at first I approach these asking interview questions and interviewing people, creatives, artists, entrepreneurs. But as I did it, I changed into more of, like you're saying, just learning for myself. Because then it just allows people to share more and share more authentically. Whereas if I'm just asking questions that I might prepare beforehand, like what would a good interview question be? Then it's just kind of, it's like, here, fill out this form rather than actually let me get to know better. I can
definitely relate. I do that HR professional thing, so people always love interviewing with me because I do not. It's very unorthodox. Like I catch them off guard. The first question is usually something where like, well, what were you going to do today if you weren't interviewing? And they're like, and that's why I said, being human, I want reality in all of my exchanges.
Yeah.
I definitely beat to my own drum. I'm very unique in that I don't care about anybody else's formula. So I like to be real with people, and it's easy if you just be like, I guess, raw, you're going to get raw.
Okay, 2 questions.
Hey.
Again, that whole 2-question formula comes up.
real quick plug. This is from Sauce THC stick. I guess you could say it is rechargeable as well. I actually have been getting a lot of brand ambassador people liking things. So yeah, this is THC. I will plug it on my page so you guys can order. It's delicious.
Shout out.
Shout out. But yeah, I've been getting a lot of like brand stuff. Something that's really huge for me is, like I told you, I do like theater and art, burlesque, and I got a brand ambassador for for the adults. This is parental guidance suggested, but they make like waterproof squirt pads, like for girls that are like a little more messy.
Yeah,
and they're in Amsterdam. So we're planning on going there next year so that we get to actually meet them and have a campaign with them. But I've been with them for like 6 months, and like they gave me my own code, and it's really cool. And then I'm also working with this t-shirt company in Philly. It's called Bridge Life Philly. They make t-shirts and apparel, super cool, like graphic tees. And I've been their brand ambassador for a year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so one of the things that you've brought it up a couple times now, is how you are addicted to self-improvement. So can you tell me, what is the best advice that you have for somebody working on improving their ability to self-improve?
I'm gonna relate it to this. When someone has a health problem or issue, a lot of people wanna I need a pill, I need this. Like, I want everyone to start here. What does your environment look like? What are you putting into your body? What are you influenced by, and what are your support systems? If you start there, no matter where I put you, no matter what we're talking about, I don't care what it is, that can help people to kind of get to that area where they're being real with themselves so that they can self-improve.
Interesting.
A lot of I see people with like, I'm depressed, I'm going through this, and I'm like, but have you gotten any sun? We're supposed to get sun every day for at least an hour. What are you eating? You only eat fast food, I'm never going to be against anyone. I'm always going to speak truth. We know that is not nourishment for our body. So if that's all that you eat, you're not eating any vegetables, then okay, your support system, your family's all the way 300 miles away, let's say, you can't get to them. And then your environment, like the people you're around, let's say you have a spouse that isn't doing well with you. So the first 4 thing a person needs to think about before they start thinking about self-improvement is, what environment are you in? Are you nourishing your body? Is your health up to standard? Where is your support system? Who are that? And what is your environment? Like, what are you putting around yourself? Because it might be like 2 things you can take away and you'll be fine. Then you can start moving on, That's something that I value high, because I'm really happy in like my in my life and with my ohana and like my personal life, and that's something that also reflects well in the world too. Is like I don't have to fake it. Like I'm not going home like, oh my God, I don't like, the people I'm around and my environment. I'm getting sun. I've kind of changed how I eat, what I think about, what I use, the products I use on my skin. All of that has changed.
Yeah.
So it's a different standard now. And I had to look at those things. That's what I did during 2020. I'm like, well, what's my environment? Who are the people I'm around? And funny, this past like red moon it was or something in August was like a release moon. Oh, it released people that was in my life for like years, but it's the season and the reason. When you involve yourself, you're not going to see the same people. You're not going to be around the same people. You're not going to keep experiencing the same things.
Yeah.
So I think something that I mentioned, because I work with some youth too, is I was just like, if you want different, you have to move different. And sometimes that difference that you're moving, it's going to make people drop off. And that's okay. Yeah. You don't got to wish them ill will. It's just on to the next.
So as a visionary and as a forever improving entrepreneur and hustler.
Hustler OG.
How do you relate that always working and always taking steps forward and improving? How do you relate that with the, like you said, reworking your definition of wealth to being content and being, I want to get it like word for word, but being content basically. How do those two things interact where you're always pushing but trying to be content where you're at?
Balance comes by way of not overloading yourself. Like I don't feel no kind of way for taking breaks, taking off, saying no to, I've been saying no to things nowadays. I used to say yes to everything. Yeah. Yes to everything. Yep. Oh, you want me to do this? Oh, you're having an open mic night. I'll pay for that. Oh, I'll do this. I'll do that. And it starts to stretch you thin because you're chasing what you know your goal is.
Yeah.
But what it is for me is two things: balance and alignment. I stop saying I want, I desire, and I start saying I'm open to what's meant for me. And my entire path has changed. Yeah. Things do not come my way that are not meant for me. And when they do, even if they get in, because they're going to get in sometimes, they get knocked the hell out. Like something crazy happens and I'm like, I have to announce I'm no longer participating in that because, or even like walking into like an interview somewhere and just being like, no, thank you. I'm going to respectfully pass. Or like, recently I did an audition and I had to like respectfully separate myself out. And like the reason why I know I got there is because of balance and alignment. I've taken the breaks. Like I definitely have not played about like, dude, we live in Hawaii. I'm at the beach like 2-3 times a week now. I used to only go like once every few weeks because you just constant. Yeah. I also had to learn what really made me happy, because I never for like 1,000 years thought that anyone else makes you happy. Like I know it takes me, but I was like, well, what makes me happy? What makes me content? And it's those two things. When I have balance in my space, meaning my life and my career and everything is balanced, and then I'm aligned where I need to be, everything flows. If I get out of alignment, I meditate, I exercise, I start eating raw foods too. Like I won't eat, like he'd be like, what's wrong with you? Eat something. Like my spouse is like, what's wrong with you? Eat something. I'll just juice because I'm detoxing myself out. Everything we do is energy. We are a mass of energy. And so I really like, with that change, had to use that and say, no, this is how, no, if I'm not balanced and I'm not aligned, I'm not happy. As long as I stay balanced and aligned, I can continue my happiness. And that's not to say that I haven't done things where, we all have those days where you may not be like the happiest, but you still have to continue and move on. But I started speaking life into myself. Like, dude, I'm just trying to stay out of them spaces where you're just like, I'm messing up, or I'm tired of this, or am I ever going to get this? I stopped like saying stuff like that. You know why? How the hell am I going to say I'm a visionary and I'm all of these things and I don't believe in my damn self? Why am I talking like that? I just walked in I just walked across the street, and these people, like some old person, a chronic opened the door for me, or a person that's houseless. I'm not gonna call him a chronic. He opened the door for me. I'm like, how am I having my head down? And this man felt the wherewithal that he clearly had a problem. He had a problem with drugs. He clearly was tired, hot, but he opened the door for me, and then I went and I gave him food back, and like 2 seconds later somebody paid for my gas. Like, it's just little things like that that's like I cannot stay in those spaces anymore. So yeah, I made a commitment to myself too. Like, I was like, once you're evolved past that, don't go back there. Don't go back to that writer's block crap and all of that stuff. You know what writer's block is? Get your ass out the house. I swear, we all I got writer's block. Get away from your house. Go away. What you see in your view, it starts to open up like kind of the perspectives and dynamics of your mind. So if you go out and you live here, you go out, you see those mountains, it's like, okay, I can go back in and create. Or like, let's say you're trying to edit and you're like, oh my God, this edit's not working. Get out the house. I started to do that too, because I know 2020 made a lot of people like stay in the house. A lot of things have changed in the world, so I kind of understand why people, but I'm just like at the point, like, I'm like, for me and mine's like, F that, I'm pushing through. I don't care about anything y'all say anymore. I'm just gonna do it.
At one line you said, how the hell am I a visionary and I don't believe in myself?
That's get ready to go in one of my songs, and I swear y'all gonna hear that again.
That is a line right there.
And then something else is I was saying, this is something I was like, I get more beautiful as I heal. Like, I just learned, I looked at some pictures of myself over the last like couple, I was like, yo, right now he is developing one of my new songs, and I'm about to be back in the studio next week, or this week, Thursday.
Yeah.
Wow, I haven't been in the studio in a long time. I'm really looking forward to it.
So one thing that I was wondering if you could go a bit more in depth in, which I wasn't, I didn't really like, I didn't feel like I understood it 100%. Okay. Could you explain to me a bit more about what it means to be aligned?
The first thing you have to figure out individually is, what is alignment for you? Like, what does alignment look like? But like, if I could say basic for everyone is, does what you do and does how you feel and what you believe align with what you're doing? That's why I don't work in the corporate world anymore. How in the hell is that humanitarian and helping anybody if I'm giving the corporate man all of my money and all of my talents and all of my things? I'm just giving you examples of me to kind of help you with what I meant by alignment. I truly believe in other artists. I am only here for collaboration and not consumption. So I stopped going in events and situations that consume me, like where I feel like this person's making all the money and none of the artists are doing anything. It is not even about monetary. It's like there's not even an opportunity for me. It's just like, pay this and come on this stage every week, and then where does it go? Oh, stay around the network, and it's the same you got to kind of do something different to get something different. Some other things I did, I had to feed myself different. I had to start like weight training and like getting back in there, like, and not playing around, because I'm like, I'm sluggish. My energy, that's not aligned with me trying to help other people. How am I going to help you if I'm not even healthy? And being more true to oneself, like to your words. So like, that's why I don't have a problem with working out anymore and eating healthy. It's easy for me because I made a commitment to myself. I have to be consistent in order to get the results, and I'm not playing like with me. Like, if I said I'm gonna eat a healthy, even if someone's like, here, pizza, I'm good, I'll drink water, because my brain is like kind of conditioned. Alignment is commitment. conditioning. So that's where my alignment. I'm like conditioned and like trained almost, like, you know, like if you get ready to go play the Super Bowl or whatever, and you've been playing all these games, and then you get in the Super Bowl and you're not. No, I've been consistently winning throughout the season.
Yeah.
And now the big Super Bowl is coming here. I'm fitting to win this game. Like, I'm not going to play around. So yeah, I've been really consistent with myself, and also giving myself grace. Like if I said, "Oh, I want to write this song in a week," and then I don't write it, I start to give myself grace, and I'm like, well, what is good in that? What did I do in that? And then use that as a catapult to kind of go forward, even though I might have messed something up.
Yeah. So, thank you. That explained alignment a lot better for me.
Alignment.
So, how do you kind of balance that grace with improvement in learning? Because that's one thing that I've had to learn over time is how to learn to give myself grace. How do you kind of like work those two?
Support. Excuse me. I have support. I keep telling people, and this is going to be difficult for someone that has absolutely no one, but even if you have one person, I hope, I'm like sending vibes out to everyone. I hope you have one person that you can go to, but like you need a support system. You need people that are around you that have the same visions and tasks as you. That's why I did a slew of business separations this year, which means I have nothing negative to say about the business. I just don't work with you, or I separated my business from you because you're not aligned with my thoughts. And so guess what happens? I start to feel like crap. Like I'm like trying to give myself grace, but I'm like, I'm working with people that are all over the place. No, it's like, you know, and then confidence. And like, yeah, I believe in myself. Like, I don't play about myself. Like, that's why I had someone ask me the other day, why did I post a video? It was Waves, as a matter of fact, which was my first ever video production. I directed that video. I wrote the song and then brought an erotica poet on there. And they asked me, why did I post that on my Instagram? Because it was old. And I'm like, that's what's wrong with y'all. I'm going to advocate for myself. I'm going to post my music every day. Anything I ever did is getting posted. Any picture I ever took is getting posted. I don't have to have contacts. It doesn't mean social media is so misread, where people assume that because you post something, it has to be in the now, or it makes it not credible. What makes something not credible is it not being credible. That's why I told you I'm facts over feelings. It's like, did she make waves? She made waves, so she can post it because I'm going to advocate for myself. And guess what? That got me, I think it was 120 more views, which I'm a person that doesn't look at views or likes as validity. Yeah. But it's nice to see that because I put myself out there, a couple more people saw me, you know?
Yeah.
You got to advocate for yourself. Then I forgot the question. Short-term memory loss.
I'm the exact same way. So, regarding when you say you don't look at views as validity, how do views, likes, the number of all that, you know, all those like statistics that people tend to, some people like tend to obsess over, and that most people know it's not good to. How do those kind of exist within the sphere of how you view success?
I'm successful every time I walk into a room. I'm successful because of who I am and what I have developed and who I've grown to be, and the actions and words that I put in and the things that I do and the accolades that I have. And so that's why views and things don't, that's why I'm new to social media. I'm like 3 years in. People are like, you just, because look at everything I've done without social media. I was still touring and doing video. I mean, I'm not stating that I'm an 80s baby. So I'm a little bit more seasoned than most of the people, you know, or, you know, and growing up in kind of like the late 90s and stuff like that, and like seeing stuff. So I'm not doing that to myself. Like, that's psychological warfare with the Matrix. What's wrong with y'all? If you're dope, like I said all the time, like if you're dope in real life, why do you care? I don't care. I put my stuff out there as an expression of my passion, and in hopes that the reciprocity that I'll get is the love that I have for myself. I do not put music and things out in theater and do all these things for y'all. I appreciate that you enjoy it, but if I measured myself off of other individuals' opinions, then I will be pretty broke in spirit and in pockets. I worry about myself and what my compass looks like and what I want to go by. And then I appreciate constructive criticism, like if it's really constructive, but it has to come from people that are valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you're not going to come over here and say anything to me, because even if I did the wackest B movies of all time, I still have directed, executive produced, like even if I was the worst director, I still went out and made a choice to try and do. And so that's why a lot of people's opinions are just that. I appreciate you. And it doesn't mean that I don't value or that I don't have an active listening ear, but I want to align with people who are there to like kind of feed your energy in a positive way and not just kind of throw out what they want to say. So like social media I've never had like any beef on social media. Yeah. There's been a couple times that I've had to check people, but it's always factual. I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't like your behavior. No, I'm going to be like, the thing that you did, blah, blah, blah. I'm a straight Aquarius, like big Aquarius energy, but regardless of astrological signs, who I am as a person just isn't going to allow you to emotionally control me. And that's what I feel like views and likes do. They're emotional control. You're like, oh, I got to post. And when I stop posting for everybody, that's when I start getting more views on my stuff. Like when I just start genuinely being like, yo, today this is what's going on, or hey, blah, 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 I'm going to share this. It just feels, social media for me nowadays feels more authentic, because I'm like, I don't care. I don't even look at the views. I don't care. Because if I affect one person, can I still make the statement that I've affected people? So I've been doing that. It's been really increasing. Like even when I went to Vegas, that was the first time I performed in front of tens of thousands of people. There's no control. This is an open market. There are people up on the roof. There are people walking through. There's tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with people, but when I walked into that, I was like, ooh, those are the real. So I want those kind of views, like the realistic ones that actually look at you. I want those kind of likes, the ones that you can really feel. And so, yeah. Yep. That's me.
So another 2 questions. Hopefully I don't forget the second one. So how I have been viewing social media more recently, especially as I started this and have had just non-stop kind of like stuff to post with these, just because it makes it easy. It makes it easy because there's so much like postable stuff with this. How I have sort of realized that I view it is I enjoy, it's kind of, for me, it's like a puzzle. It's like a marketing puzzle where I get to study the psychology of it to where I can look into why people like what they like when people death scroll on social media, TikTok, whatever why people do what they do with that, and how I can make what I do fall into that category so I can sort of put my art into those parameters so that people can enjoy that. Do you think that it is like doing that? Do you think that will take away or has a possibility to take away from the authentic nature of art?
Art is expression. So however you choose to express it is art. If you choose to post 20 posts and look at the views, that is how you choose to express art. So who is anyone? And I probably could find a quote if I think enough, because I read a lot, of Like, who is someone to tell you or to dictate art and what art is to you? And so that's why I don't lend my opinion to the manner in which people want to present themselves. Like, I hear bloggers and things speaking ill will on women and men and these artists and how they choose to go. Like, oh, why does she have this on? Or, oh, it's like, but you guys are missing the point here. Artist expression has always been artist expression. No one cares about what y'all think. This new wave of kind of like opinion, I don't even know what to call it. Like, this dialogue behind art is such the opposite of what art is. You really have to be like I said, you have to be a solid individual to really maneuver in this entertainment business, because you could easily, like, I could see people like, answering social media. I'm with a lot of these stars. I'm not answering anything. Say what you want. I don't have to. Why do we do that to each other? Because, again, depending on how you want to express your art is going to depend on how important what someone else does. I'm different. And the cloth that I was made is only a few yards left. I really don't care. Like I said, I've had exchanges where people are like, well, why did you post this? Or someone says, I don't like this. And I was like, well, thank you for the view. I'm being honest. Then they're going to get mad at me. I'm just being myself. So my favorite part about all of this is everything you see is which, like, I'm not fake. This is who I am. Like, you're just going to get and I think that's what's drawing more people my way, is that I'm more human. Whereas when I first came out, I'm like, I got to put out the song that people are going to like. Like, I wasn't thinking about, I'm so thankful for my brother, Mr. Guillotine. I miss you so much, because he really taught me. I got to learn that from him about the music business. Who are you, not what they want you to be. Like, start being you. And then he'd say things like, you need to do more things like this. And then here I am all year long. I've been doing this. And it's made the difference. So, thankful for people that you meet in your life that you still are connected to. Shout out to you, sir. I know you're back home resting, and hopefully you'll see this.
All right, I am going to, that camera battery just died, so I'm going to switch the battery out real quick. We'll hop back in.
We'll be right back with these messages.
So, the question that I had right before the camera died was, you talked about vision and what you're working towards, and how specifically the question came up when you said that the type of audience that you are attracted to and that you like is I think you said you were in Vegas, that packed crowd, everyone everywhere. So
it was nuts. I was like, why is there people on the roof? Oh my God. They were hanging from, and it was every background. It was the world.
Damn.
It was the world. It was kids who were like, your flower, because I had flowers in my head. It let me know that, like, for me, like we were talking about that views thing, I made it.
Yeah.
Because they don't even know my name, and they're wanting to know what I'm doing, who I am. So yeah.
So the question that brought up was, what does your vision, your like ideal goals for the future, what does that future look like?
I definitely want to be sustainable all the way around. Financial freedom is another really big one. And one of those things for me personally is kind of like coming out of the grid a little bit, of the grid of, what they created, the 40-hour work weeks. And that as I come out of the grid more, the more I'm creating a direction for what you ask, and sustainability, definitely growth of food and things like that. But I think what is going to be the turning point, especially as we're coming, because I've had a really busy year. I've had a foundational year now, and I'd like to take the foundation that I have and apply it to a realistic, sustainable future for myself. And I think I'm going to start from where I've always started from, and that's the music. I have one last single to put out this year that's just like a fun track and things. But as I work towards my EP and I began to write that this year a little bit, I'm really going to be focusing more on it next year. I think that's going to change the trajectory of like, I'm talking to the people now. It's not just for myself anymore. I'm also moving in the light of where I'm speaking from.
Yeah.
And so my future is extremely bright. I'm looking forward to everything. Oddly enough, I have one more audition this year, and it's for Cirque du Soleil. It just came out of nowhere.
Damn.
It's for the singing portion, so I'm gonna audition.
Yeah.
That's one thing I feel like every time it comes past me, in the way that it comes past me, it's meant for me to do. And I'm incredibly excited about what it looks like to continuously be consistent, dedicated, human. Like what is that gonna look like for me? But yeah, my future's looking it's feeling bright and looking bright.
Yeah. So would you I asked this question in a lot of interviews because I like how vague it is. Would you say you are happy in life right now?
Happy. What is happiness? Like I will say that I am always making a commitment to happiness, because happiness is just like love. You're making a commitment and a choice to show up. And so the answer to that question is I'm making a commitment and a choice to show up for myself every day. And that is happiness for me. And so, yeah. And there's days where that isn't always like the highlight of the day. But what I do is with grace is also with accountability.
Yeah.
So if I need to focus and hone in on myself, I definitely do. But again, that's also making another commitment or a choice to be accountable.
Yeah.
And it's hard when it's yourself. Like when you said you wanted to like work out and you're sitting on it on there scrolling, like challenge yourself. And so
yeah.
That's what I'm doing with myself nowadays.
So saying that it's hard, it is. What would you say in your career in life you are most proud of? And it doesn't have to be one thing.
I'm proud that I've broken generational curses, not only for myself as the global majority person, which if people doesn't know what that means from a historical standpoint, they have called us minorities to kind of hold and keep us down, and people kind of think an American standard. But when you think of the totality of my people, we are the global majority. And so I really thought to myself, I've broken generational curses for the basis of who I am as a person of color, and then being a woman as well. My child has not had to have this same experience that I did. My child also has a different outlook and a value of what life really is. I've raised them incredibly realistic, and so I'm proud of that portion of it. But I'm proud of myself. Like what is the thing I'm most proud of? Myself. There's not any one thing, because I could sit here and be like, I performed in Vegas, I was on Broadway, I've been doing burlesque. I could like name all of these things, but none of that matters to the fact that from the little girl in the hood on the stoop watching the skyline and seeing my parents kind of grow up in poverty and the crack era and the epidemics and all of those things. I'm most proud of myself because I was able to come out of that and be able to be where I am today, and like be super proud of everything that I've done. And so that's my answer. I'm most proud of myself, of everything, every move that I made to get away from what was, I guess, handed to me, because we don't ask to be born into things. And I'm sure my parents didn't like purposely like, you know, live in the inner city. They were living another place, but they had like a basement flooding. And I think it just created like, you know, mental health for them, trauma for them. You have a bunch of kids, you know, you live in the inner city. So yeah, I'm proud of that. And of course I always have to see, I'm proud of being a mommy. I never thought I was going to be a mommy at all. Didn't want kids. Came from a lot of kids, 10 of us. But I'm proud that I have like an awesome kid that's like an awesome young adult, and like, yeah, it's really cool. Young teenage kid. But he's still awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as we're nearing the end and wrapping up, one of the questions that I always ask, and I always like to hear the varied responses to, is along the lines of advice and from your experiences. I like to hear the different answers. If you had one thing to like leave our audience off with, whatever it be, what would you leave them with?
Instead of the word leave, because I'm always a person that likes to have this like unique connection to people, I always say to people, I'll see you soon, or until soon. So until soon, until the next time, remember to give yourself grace. Remember your fellow man, and continue to be consistent and dedicated to your path and your wave. There's nothing better than in a world full of Kardashians, you be yourself.
Sorry.
That's okay. You know, that just, again, we're here with Meca, so of course something real is going to happen. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the background, because I definitely have loved like interviewing in this space. Super comfortable. But what I was saying is, instead of me saying leave, I always like to like have that continuous path and continuous thing in life. And so I wanted to say, stay dedicated to yourself, stay dedicated to your peoples, love your fellow man. And then I probably have short-term memory loss as to what I was going to say before. But outside of that, always follow me, Meca Royal Official, on most of the platforms for my next upcoming things that I will be doing. I'm also going to be modeling for Paradise Fashions. I like and enjoy working with people who are of integrity. And so I was looking to get into the kind of like pageants, which pageants nowadays are way more realistic. So I was like, whoa, I'll go for it. But I was able to like speak to like higher business reps. And so I've decided that Paradise Fashions is the best that I'm going to go to. So I'll be starting in December for that. And just like getting trained and walking and photo shoots. And then let's hope I get Cirque du Soleil, because that's here in Hawaii. Like, yeah, like, man, that'd be awesome. But outside of that, man, I'm just going to be your regular Meca in the neighborhood. You'll see me on roller skates or with a basketball in my hand. Say hi. I am going to continue to work for the community at least through January. That's my kind of final assignment. Oddly enough, through everything I said, I'm going to leave you guys with this. My path is unwritten. I'm not really sure what's next. I know what directions and I have my like conditions and but I'm leaving it open to alignment. Like what's coming in is kind of what will be next. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for this opportunity. You guys don't know, or maybe you can't feel on camera, but man, this guy is just talented. Such a great spirit, like well-mannered, and he's from the East Coast. And it took it's literally crazy to be here, because we met from, hey, you're the event coordinator, hey, this cameraman's gonna come, and that's kind of our history. And now we have some videos, and we may have some newer videos coming out soon. Stay tuned.
Gee. Thank you so much. And then you got into it a little bit But for anybody who's like driving or anything right now, can't be on their phone, their computer, could you say all your social media, all your platforms out loud?
Absolutely. So TikTok is the official Meca Royal. That's on TikTok. On Instagram, it's Meca Royal Official. On Facebook, it's Meca Royal. And then, of course, I'm on all platforms, and that includes YouTube. That's under Meca Royal, which is MECA 1C. Not quite the Meca, but I feel y'all where y'all be trying to go. And Royal meaning this, not the state of being, because people always ask me, why isn't it Royale? Because that's the state of being royal. Royal is royal. I don't want to be in a state of being I am royal. So yes, Meca Royal. And then also my email, because some people like to email me. That's mecaroyalllc@gmail.com. And, you know, we have High Vibrations, which is under Royalty Rising LLC. I do have an LLC, and we have Sage and products and things. Our December drop will be coming up soon. So thanks so much for having me, everyone. If you can't, don't. Just wait until you sit down somewhere and get my information. Don't be crashing for me. I don't like crashing.
And then when you park the car, first thing, you know, put it in. If you need to, put it in park. But if that takes too much time, just keep your foot on the gas.
Yeah,
not on the gas, on the brake.
And thanks to our quiet audience member out there. We appreciate you. Chee! Thanks. Have a great day. Everyone, I always say this, stay protected. And I always feel like I'm quoting Demolition Man, but travel well and be safe. Chee!
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Sweet, that was awesome. It was so good feeling